this new video of management case study interview. My name is Shyampanka, and we will be going through this interview. First of all, going through the interview and then analyzing the interview and figuring out what is the key takeaway. Today, we are doing a case study interview where my client is an insurance company and it's a market entry case study interview. For context, all the black text with blue background you see is the statement of the interviewer, and all the blue text with white background you see is the statement of the candidate. Let's begin. Your client is a health insurance company based in US. They are planning to expand to India. What insurance market segment should they enter? So the first statement told by the interviewer is very important because it tells you the scope of the interview. So we already don't know it's a market entry case study interview. We know that our client is a health insurance company based in US. They want to expand to India, and we have to figure out what market segment to enter. So before going deep into analyzing which segment works best for them, you first have to understand the companies and what are their objectives and goals. Uh, when entering India, what are they planning to achieve? So that will be the first segment, and that is how we are gonna explore first. Then we'll analyze and figure out which market segment works best for them, and then we'll provide them suggestions. I w- okay. So let me mark down important things. So they are a health insurance company based in US. I think US is not that important, but we know they're a health insurance company. They want to expand to India. Which insurance market segment should they enter? Okay. I want to understand if there is any particular reason to enter India and what is the main object. Sorry, what is the main objective behind this market entry? Is it to maximize profit, break even, or any other specific objective? So either maximize profit, break even, or any other objective. What is the reason for entering India? India's insurance market a, has great growth potential. So they want to enter into the new market segment to increase their global presence and customer base. So make sure you notice all the points which the interviewer is saying because this is what you're going to use while analyzing it in the second part of the interview, which is so India's insurance market is sorry India's insurance market has seen a great potential, which is important. So they want to enter into new market segment to increase their global presence and customer base. The goal is for them to increase their global presence and customer base. Profit is not their primary goal. So keep that in mind when analyzing it. Okay. I also want to know if the company has specific segment preference. Okay. They are a health insurance, but is it very specific category for health insurance they want to enter? That is what the interviewee is asking. Do they plan to leverage their health uh, segment? Do they plan to leverage their health segment expertise? Also, are there any regulatory restrictions or any constraints relating to capital investments? Okay. They do not have any financing constraints or regulatory constraints. Important. No financial issues or regulatory issues for them. And they have decided to evaluate all segments except health insurance. How would you evaluate the segments? Okay, so they are a health insurance company, but they are planning to evaluate all segments except health insurance. So they want to enter into different segments of health insurance, different segments of insurance. Interesting. I would like to approach this problem by evaluating the financial viability, operational feasibility, and market activeness. Market attractiveness. So, oh my bad. Okay, there is something wrong with it. I'm not able to pinpoint. Okay. Financial viability, operational feasibility, and market attractiveness for the potential segments. The financial viability aspect is to assess the profitability and return on investment. The operational feasibility would include factors like regulatory approvals, resource availability, and technological capabilities. Okay. Also, when we are going to this interview, make sure how is the candidate analyzing different aspects because it is not very sector specific. In operational feasibility in a market entry case study, you can apply this logic into different case studies in different industries as well. So make sure how the candidate is dividing each segments on its own. Okay, so feasibility or operational feasibility is divided into regulatory approvals, resource availability, and technological capabilities. And these directly impact the scale and efficiency of operations. Lastly, I would assess the market attractiveness in terms of market size, attainable market share, growth rate, existing competition, availability of agent brokers. Is this a reasonable approach? Yes, go ahead. Please tell me how would you evaluate the profitability? So the interview is telling to focus on the first part, which is profitability. The major revenue would come from premiums and the major expense would be claims. Should I consider any other streams? This is pretty standard in terms of insurance. The premiums and claims are the two main components in terms of calculating revenue. No, this is fair. Would you compute the amount of how would you compute the amount of claims? The claim is the amount paid when the contingent event occurs. This would be explaining the claims logic. Okay, this would be the amount lower of the sum assured and actual loss. Uh, we can This would be an amount lower of the sum assured and actual loss. We can determine the amount claims by factoring the likelihood of the loss occurrence and severity of loss. Claim amount per contract is equals to minimum sum assured into it, it, claim amount per contract is equals to minimum of sum assured and loss amount into probability of loss occurrence. So remember this formula. How do you calculate the amount per contract? Is you calculate first of all what is the minimum of the sum you have assured or the loss amount, and then you multiply it with the probability of loss occurrence. Okay. Uh, what all matrices would you consider for evaluating the financial viability, and what are the various factors that would be considered? Okay. I would compare the probability ratio, which would be assessed based on the average profit and the volume of insurance contract. Okay. So I'll compare the probability ratio, which will be assessed based on the average profit and the in and the volume of insurance per contract. Let's understand this. Uh, okay, I think we can go ahead. He has explained what exactly this means. System, average profit and the volume of contracts uh, insured. The volume of contracts can be determined based on the market size and attainable market share. Profit ratio is equals to profit upon revenue into 100. I would also compare the combined ratio, which is the benchmark uh, profitability metric for the insurance industry, as it includes only operational expense and would be more relevant for segment comparison, as non-operating expense would be incurred irrespective of the segment. So the combined ratio is equals to claim losses per plus operational expenses upon premiums earned. Apart from the profitability analysis, we can compare the return on investment to assess how well the segment generates earnings. Okay, so the ratio which he's going to compare is you how much you have losses because of the claims and what is the operational expense upon what is the premium earned, uh, which is and how big is that ratio? The bigger this number, the more difficult it is for the client because they're wasting too much money on claims. There's also a different way of calculating profitability ratio, which is how much profit you have earned divided by total revenue into 100. And you compare these numbers to figure out is it a good ratio to launch into this particular segment. Apart from the profitability analysis, we can compare the return on investments to assets how well the segment generates earning. Okay. Okay. Uh, yeah, let me underline this. Return on investment to assets and how well the segments generates earning. Compare this. You compare, you calculate this, and then you also calculate this. Okay. Now let us look at which segments would have a highest number of users. Can you first list all the segments for me? Okay. Whenever or wherever there is some variability, uncertainty, and a risk of incurring damages loss, there would be an opportunity for insurance. So apart from health insurance, there is life insurance and general insurance. General insurance is broadly segmented into fire, marine, property, liability, and other miscellaneous insurance. Property can be either immovable property like building machinery or movable property like vehicles. Okay, can you pause for a moment and tell me how big the auto insurance segment would be? I'm all moving into market sizing also a little bit because which is a very common part of market entry cases that you need to size the market also. But yeah, let's see how the candidate insurance, the auto industries market of India. Sure. What sort of vehicles are we looking at? And is it domestic or commercial? Look at domestic cars. Don't get into numbers. Just tell me the factors to consider. Okay. So make sure you ask your questions before I start analyzing. So we just have to focus on domestic cars. We don't need to get into numbers. Just we need to list the factors. I would consider total population and compute the number of households. The households can be bifurcated into rural and urban. Then we can factor the income class and consider the average number of cars based on the income group. For example, urban high income group will have an average of 3 cars. Urban middle income group will have an average of 1 car. Okay, so you have divided it into. Okay, wait. So what he is doing, first of all, he has taken a look on total population. Okay, wait. Let me just do it slowly so that we don't make mistakes. Uh, okay, this is not very much easy to do. Let me just pick up pen. So you have divided total into total population. Let's see, why is it taking so much trouble? Let's try to do it from. Okay, yeah. It's a bit difficult to underline right now, but let's try last time. So he has divided total into total population, uh, and compute the number of households. He has started. So he started first of all dividing into households into rural and urban, and that factor the income class, and consider the average number of cars based on the income group. So urban high income group, he has told that he have a average of 3 cars, and middle high urban group will have an average of 1 car. Okay, let's move back to the segment section selection. Consider the life insurance and general insurance segments. Which one should the client target? The life insurance segment already has dominant players like LIC and intense competition. Further, the government is also providing schemes like Pradhan Mant okay, government is also providing schemes like Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Sathi Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Thus, it would be difficult to gain a reasonable market share in the segment. Thus, the client should focus on general insurance segments. Fair enough. Can you pick any one of the emerging segments of your choice in general insurance segments? Sure. Shall I go ahead with travel insurance? Sure. First, tell me what all losses can one suffer during travel? How would you classify it? Okay. So sure. Let's let us look at all the events that happen during travel. It includes transportation. So you're dividing all the events of travel into different parts. Just transportation, accommodation, spending time, and traveling to location. I would categorize all the losses into health related losses, theft related. Okay, so there are health related losses, theft related losses, and transport related losses. Health would include any cost leading to accidents, hospitalization, uh, medical evacuation. Theft would could be passport or documents and luggage and money. Transport risk. Transport risk include the transport risk include the risk of flight cancellation, delays, and accident. All right, that is when let's wrap it up here. Sure, thank you. It was a pleasure interacting with you. So what we learned from this is it's pretty different from profitability case study interview. In profitability, there is a clear structure, and you move. And the last part is the suggestions of what the company should do to increase the profit. But in terms of market entry, it's very much on the interviewer which direction he wants to take in. He doesn't have a fixed script of what exactly to look for, but he can explore different areas. It can ask you to market size different areas and provide you tell you to provide segmentations and recommendations in particular area where he wishes for. So you have to be on spot and think on spot based on the what interviewer is asking. So let's move on to the second part where we'll analyze the interview. Okay, so these are the interview notes. Okay. Um, interview notes clearly understand the objective and preference of the company. I mean, these are very generic notes that you need to understand objective and preference of a company. Identify all possible parameters to evaluate and compare the segments. Uh, yeah, yeah. Determine the profits based on premiums and claims as it is specific to insurance as it is specific to insurance sector. Identify the events involved in the consumer journey to assess the risk and damages during travel. Okay. Case facts. The client wants to expand its business to India. They're looking to venture into segments apart from health. So very important. You should notice all this when it's told to you, because if you don't, and you might start analyzing health segment if you don't remember that they're looking for different segments. And it's very important to not assume also because most of people, if they hear that they are a health insurance company in US, they assume that they are also looking for the same in India. But it's very good the candidate asks that what exactly are they looking for? Is it health or something else? I want to expand business in India. Okay, so let's see the approach and framework which the candidate took. Um, yeah, so a market entry case is divided into three parts. First is market segment where you understand the client's vision, goals, and objectives. Second is the analysis part, and third is the recommendation and suggestions, or how to what is the strategy to enter the market. So in the first part, it's a new market entry, and client has a vision to enter India. They don't have very specific goals and objective, which we have to explore. So we explored financial viability, operational feasibility, and market attractiveness. In financial viability, we compared profitability on and combined ratio, and also what are the return on investments. In operational feasibility, we ask for regulatory approvals, resource availability, and our client was good on that part. In market attractiveness, we performed market size and share for the travel industry. We did the growth potential and competition for different sectors such as life insurance, and that is how we've analyzed a bit on market attractiveness for some of the industries. And there was no entering a strategy asked for us at the end, so we skipped that part. Okay, let's see how the insurance sector is divided so that you get an idea when you are presented an sector case study in an interview, you know how to think in a structured manner. So, insurance sector is divided into life insurance, general insurance, and health insurance. In life insurance, there is um, in okay, so it's health insurance. There is whole life insurance, and there is term insurance, and there is annual annuity. Okay, pretty self-explanatory terms. In general insurance, there is fire insurance, marine insurance, property insurance, liability insurance, and miscellaneous. And in the health insurance, you have the medical insurance, which you have. So that's how your health insurance is divided. And based on what the interview is asking, you can go deep into any one of them. Pretty self-explanatory terms. Okay, so what are the key learnings? Okay, what could have been done better? Pretty interesting. The insurance company collect premiums and utilizes the excess for investments. This is a major portion of operations involved in investing activity. Thus, the income and losses should be included. Okay. Um, the the interviewee focused on direct insurance, but there are opportunities in reassurance business as well. The same could have been included. So reassurance business could also be looked at rather than only looking at direct insurance. The revenue was based on the market share. Uh, okay, but for insurance business, take a longer time horizon to recover this investment. Thus, the revenue should have been assessed for a longer term after considering the persistency ratio, which would be a factor for future renewals. Okay, so persistency ratio could also be explored if you're looking for a longer term and uh, how much uh, the customer of the client is gonna be renewing those insurances if you're looking to get be profitable in a longer term. Since it was an open-ended case, recent trends of peer-to-peer insurance and micro-insurance could be discussed. So peer-to-peer insurance, micro-insurance could also be discussed. The client is a foreign company. The FDI regulations could have been considered for assessing the chances of entering the market for direct investment. So FDI regulations should also be considered. What was done well? The inclusion of combined ratio, yeah, that was pretty impressive. The inclusion of combined ratio to assess the profitability was relevant and showed the interviewees knowledge in insurance sector. The risk involved in the travel insurance was well segmented to ensure that it is mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. Insurance company insurance company requires heavy capital and regulatory approvals. The same was included in the initial stage of the case. What could be the alternate approach? Let's see. The interviewee could have started solving the case by assessing the various insurance segment first before moving on to the basis of evaluating the segment. Okay, so uh, let me read it again. The interview could have started solving the case by assessing various insurance segments first before moving on to basis of evaluating the segment. So you should start figure out what are the different insurance and assess different insurance segments before going deep into one. Various segments could be, let me just highlight it, assessing various segments before moving to evaluating uh, to one to the segments. The various segments could be assessed and selected based on customer types instead of insurance product types. Okay, the customers can be segmented into government, corporates, individuals. So that would be a very good case that we are not seeing which are the segments, but which are the individuals and what are their insurance needs, which will also give you a more exhaustive list of insurance because government and corporates insurance was kind of ignored in this case. Further, the individual segment could be targeted as it would be difficult to attract government or corporates as they would have strong existing relations with reputed insurance companies and would not prefer to shift to a foreign player. But it's still a very good idea to approach in this way. The individual target segment can be grouped based on the age, and the middle age segment could be targeted as they would be most concerned about any losses or risk. Uh, then the younger, uh, then the younger and the older generations. So you could divide people into different age sections. The middle age segment would should be targeted rather than younger and older generation because they would be more worried about their risks. That is a very good approach. It shows that you're thinking where exactly would be the major need. The targeted middle age segment can be further bifurcated based on the occupation and the risky events that occur that take place in their life. So this is how the better approach would look like, that the customer segments were divided into corporate, government, corporates, and individuals. Since they have really good relations with their current insurance, it will be difficult to gain them as customers. So individuals could be targeted. It was divided into different age groups, and the middle age group, which was 30 to 50, would be targeted because they would be the one which would be very interested in buying insurance. So this was a pretty well case study interview. It was not just an interview, but you also saw from an bird eye view that how the client is approaching the problem, how then we analyzed how the interview went, and then we also provided what could have been done better and what could be the alternate approach which would be better in this case study interview. So I hope you guys learned a lot if from this interview. If you have a case study interview coming up, to all the best for it. And if you're looking to build a career in consulting, do subscribe to my channel, as I'll be uploading different industries case study interview, which will give you an idea of how to analyze different industries and how and give you a basic knowledge of how different industries work, which will be very beneficial if in terms of any case study interview thrown at you, you will be able to navigate through it. So with that, I would like to thank you for watching and have a nice day.